Hello everyone, Pone here, and welcome back to War Thunder for another review demo video. Now, as you may recall, my first video starred the legendary Vought F4U Corsair, which is a small, single-seater, single-engine, carrier-based fighter bomber. However, for today's lesson, we're going to go a little bigger than that. Just a wee bit bigger. Today, we will be reviewing and flying the B-17 Flying Fortress, one of the most well-known and recognized heavy bombers from the Second World War. That being said, let's take a gander at this mighty warbird, shall we? And there she is, the Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress. Now, this particular B-17 is a Japanese premium B-17E, as evident by the red roundels on the sides. Now, here's our history lesson on this wonderful, wonderful bomber. It was designed and built by Boeing in the 1930s for the United States Army Air Corps, which would later become the United States Army Air Forces. First flew on July the 22nd, 1935, was first introduced to service with the USAAF in April of 1938, and went on to become the third most produced bomber of all time, with a grand total of 12,731 units built between 1936 and 1945, during the ending moments of the war. Serving with the largest offensive bombing force ever, the mighty 8th Air Force, the Flying Fortress quickly developed a reputation for being one of the toughest high-altitude, long-range bombers the world had ever seen, and dropped more bombs over enemy territory than any other U.S. aircraft in World War II. Out of the nearly 1.5 million tons of bombs dropped on the Third Reich and its occupied territories by U.S. aircraft, over 640,000 tons were dropped from B-17s. Its four Wright R-1820-97 Cyclone turbo-supercharged radial engines, which produced a total of 4,800 horsepower, combined with a maximum altitude of 35,600 feet, 13 50 caliber M2 Browning machine guns, and a max bomb payload of nearly 18,000 pounds made the Fortress a vicious force to be reckoned with. Among several noteworthy B-17s that have flown, two fortresses that are considered household names for many are Old 666 and Memphis Belle. Now, Old 666, nicknamed after its rather interesting identification number, was a B-17E whose crew became the most highly decorated crew in the Pacific Theater. During a mission on June 16, 1943, Old 666, piloted by Lieutenant Colonel J. Zemer and Second Lieutenant Joseph Sarnowski and their crew, fended off intercepting Japanese Zero fighters over Bougainville Island. This incredible fight would earn Sarnowski and Zemer the Medal of Honor, and the remainder of the aircrew would receive the Distinguished Service Cross, which is second only to the Medal of Honor in importance and esteem in the U.S. Now, Memphis Belle became famous for being one of the first USAAF B-17 heavy bombers to complete 25 combat missions during World War II, and was depicted in two motion pictures. The first being Memphis Belle, A Story of a Flying Fortress, which was a 1944 documentary, and the 1990 Hollywood feature film entitled Memphis Belle. So, now that we've covered the history of the Flying Fortress, how about we take her for a little flight? So, here we are then, the B-17 Flying Fortress. Just for a little recap before we take off, 4,800 horsepower, 1350 cal machine gun turrets, and nearly 18,000 pounds of explodey boys in the bomb bay. We're on Peleliu Island. Sorry if I butchered that. We've got sunny skies above us, and we are cleared for takeoff. So, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's strap in and fly. Alright, throttle up. And that engine sound is a sound that was feared by so many during World War II. And we are airborne. Now, first thing you're going to notice about this plane that differs heavily from the Corsair we flew last time is that this plane is an absolute behemoth. I mean, look at how massive this thing is compared to that itty-bitty Corsair. Now, as a result of it being such a large and heavy airplane, its turning is not as good as the Corsair. Whereas because in the case of the Corsair, which has a turn rate of around 18 to 20 seconds, this big Boeing has a turn time or turn radius of around 30 to 32 seconds, which means in order to fly this plane, if you're going to make any turns, you got to have a lot of patience because it takes a long time to get this big boy turned around. Now you see we've got enemy tanks up ahead, but we're not going to go for them just yet. Instead, we're going to continue to climb in altitude a bit. And I'm going to attempt to drop these bombs from a very high altitude. Like, what do you say we go for, oh, I don't know, 10,000 feet? Yeah, 10,000 feet. Let's go for that. In the meantime, we can check out some of the views from on board this plane. Like, here's the tail gunner and the waist gunners. Again, that's 13 M2 Browning machine guns mounted in 9 different spots on the plane. Basically, you did not want to have to go up against this big bomber if you were in an enemy fighter. Because 9 times out of 10, you would get shot down immediately. Now here we are looking out the bomb bay door. Nothing but blue ocean below us. And here we are inside the cockpit of the Fortress. There's our co-pilot. He seems rather concentrated. And then and then behind us, one of our gunners, always on the lookout for incoming enemy aircraft. Now you notice I've got the throttle set all the way forward to WEP or overdrive. Well, that's because with a plane this size, this heavy, you absolutely need like every last bit of your throttle just to keep her flying, especially when you're at an incline. Like if you notice right now, we haven't even crossed into the 220 mile an hour zone yet. Even with full throttle, it takes a long time to and a lot of effort to keep this heavy plane at speed. All right, we're just gonna turn a bit. Also, with a plane like this, you don't want to keep it at too much of an at too high of an angle of incline for too long, because you'll just lose speed at a very rapid pace. All right, so we're now coming up on 5,000 feet of altitude. At a steady pace, which is just what this plane needs. It needs a nice steady pace, steady inclination. And there we are, we've just crossed 5,000 feet. Again, at maximum service ceiling of 35,600 feet means that this plane, like at or close to max altitude, could drop its bombs from a very high altitude, almost without even being noticed. Now, as it stands, there are currently 9 B-17s that are still deemed airworthy, that still fly at various air shows. And several more of which are currently on display at museums. So if you ever get the chance to attend an air show or go to a museum and you happen to see one of these beautiful B-17s, do be sure to take a picture of it, because that is history you're seeing. Alright, we've just crossed into 6,000 feet. Still at a steady incline speed. There's 2 of those 4 very powerful right radial engines, turbo supercharged, and each engine produces 1,200 horsepower. Now, the B-17 was not only a very tough and reliable and easy to fly aircraft, but it was also a relatively fast heavy bomber with a top speed of 287 miles per hour. Which meant that this bomber could almost easily outfly its heavier competition, the consolidated B-24 Liberator. Alright, we're at 7,400 feet. Still going strong. Still climbing. 7,500. Make a little right turn. Getting closer and closer to 8,000. And there's 8,000 feet. There's a couple more thousand and we will be at our desired altitude of 10,000 feet. I'll level off just a little bit here so we can get our speed back up. We are just over 230 miles an hour. $8,900 feet. So you see what I mean when I say this plane while it is fun to fly, it also requires a lot of patience if you're going for high altitude bombing. Especially depending on how many bombs you're carrying. So like for our current setup, we have 12 500-pound bombs, which is weighing us down quite a bit. So of course it's going to take us a bit longer to increase altitude, even with full 110% throttle. But still, we're getting there. In fact, we are 500 feet away from reaching 10,000. At which point, we will turn the plane around and we will head for the tanks. Ooh, and we were just shy of hitting 240 miles an hour there. Not that it matters because we're almost at our desired altitude. 9960, 9970, 9980, 9990, and there is 10,000 feet above sea level and 240 miles per hour. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn this bird around and head for target. And I don't mean the store. Okay, we are turned around, leveling out. There we are, 250 miles an hour at 10,000 feet above sea level. And the first vehicle is 6.25 miles away. Alright, here we are back out of the cockpit behind this beautiful aircraft. Here's our bomb target. Now you see, now that we're at a decent altitude and that we're leveled off, we're actually maintaining speed quite well. We're still well in the 250 mile an hour zone. We are approaching target. And bombs away! There's 260 miles an hour. So let's see if any of our bombs hit. Negative. That's okay. Now we can just drop down in altitude and try again. Just decreasing the throttle a bit so we don't pick up too much speed. Bombs are reloaded. And again, this just proves my point that if you've got the patience, this plane is such a joy to fly. All right, now we're in a dive. Alright, one of those is bound to hit. There we go! Alright, I think we've taken out one of them. So now, we can turn around and go for the last one. It'll take a while to turn, but that's okay because that's about roughly the amount of time it takes to reload the bombs. There we go. Alright, level off. Yep, that's one enemy vehicle destroyed. One more to go. And wait for it. Bombs away! Will it hit? Yes! Impact! And there we go. Patience pays off. So now that we've had our fun flying this big bomber, we can bring her in for a landing. Now, landing a bomber is a bit more difficult than landing a smaller single-seater. You've got a lot more size and a lot more weight that you're in control of. One wrong move can cost you that plane. So you have to be very, very careful. All right, landing flaps. Alright, we have made touchdown. Whew, now wasn't that a lot of fun? I sure had a lot of fun flying this big bird. Now we're just gonna taxi in close to the hangar. And from there, we'll shut her down. Alright, and bring her to a stop. There we go. And cut the engines. Well, ladies and gents, there you have it. That concludes my review and demo of the mighty B-17 Flying Fortress. Such a legendary bomber, so much fun to fly, and just a beautiful looking warbird. Now, there are some variants of the B-17 in the US research tree that you can research, order, and fly in air combat battles here in War Thunder. Or, if you want, you can buy the Japanese premium B-17 that I've flown today. And take my word for it when I say this. If you're looking for a great long-range bomber, look no further than the Flying Fortress. Well, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I had such a wonderful time making it. If you did enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button, share it with your friends and family, and leave a comment down below. I'm absolutely 100% open to any constructive criticism y'all can offer me. As I mentioned last time, I'm completely new to this whole business of making YouTube videos. So any help that can be given to me, any tips, any do's and don'ts, or what I can do better, that is much appreciated. Also, if you're new, smash that subscribe button and join the herd today, and ring that notification bell. That way, you'll be notified of all future uploads on this channel. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This is Pone, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, keep calm and trot on. Bye!